Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
The games.
Well. Look who's late this time. Mr. Kyle.
Oh, that's right. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You know what? Men in comedy have a bad enough reputation without you being 20 minutes late to a podcast.
Oh, hilarious. Should he have brought cookies or something? What did you bring? Didn't you bring like marshmallows or some fucking thing?
I did. I brought you something you couldn't eat.
right,
That's what
'cause
I do.
I was
I
in
study
between-
what you're allergic to,
Yeah.
and then I
It's
double
like,
it.
What are you trying not to do? Well, I'm vegan this month. I'm not. I had a little. I don't know what the fuck I had. I had chicken.
Okay.
It's a great story. Should I tell it again? What'd you have today, Jackie?
I do. And tell
Hi,
me,
Laurie
did you have a
Kilmartin.
dream last night? Was it crazy? Open up.
Andy had a dream last night. He insisted on telling me about it too.
I don't want to
And,
hear it. How
No,
about that?
nobody does.
Okay.
I'm going to spare us all.
I love Andy, but
He's good at me too.
no. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, so
you
last
did comedy.
I did comedy. I was in Seattle last weekend.
That's it.
At the Underground, and I love the Underground. Seattle, as a city, is August is its only good month, and for the rest of the year, it's cold and wet there, and so they don't have air conditioning, especially in the old buildings. Especially when I'm on stage, the Comedy Underground, as it turns out.
The Comedy Underground doesn't
Yes.
have air conditioning?
So we're
Gutsy stuff.
underground in brick. A lot of people.
A lot of people.
It's me.
You fill rooms.
And,
I don't know if you know this about Kilmartin. She fills rooms, you guys.
Partially. And there's fans in the back, but they're far back so they don't interrupt with the audio. So
Okay.
I'm not getting any of it. So there was the second show Saturday, I was dripping. It was just gross.
Yeah.
But,
Sounds gross. But did you have fun?
I did have fun.
Who'd you work with? Anybody good?
Oh my God.
Perfectly nice people?
Daniel Carrion, I think.
Okay.
And Seattle guy, really funny guy. Annika, she was the MC. I'm really bad.
Right.
Okay.
You didn't suspect I might ask those two
Listen, I
questions.
know. I say let's hear it for Annika and the white guys, and
there you
that
go.
covers all my
sets and-
shows
yeah.
in Seattle. Yeah, very funny comics.
Oh, good.
Seattle's a great comedy community. And then I stayed at the airport.
You stayed at a
I did
hotel
not
at
stay at the
airport.
condo.
Woohoo!
The last minute offer was,
Triumph?
how about we put you up at the airport? So I stayed at, it wasn't bad, the Crown Plaza.
Crown Plaza?
At the airport. Yeah,
There's
it's fine.
nothing wrong
It's
with a
fine.
Crown Plaza.
But now, it kept getting bought every single day, so I had to recheck in every day for the hotel room. Oh. I know, but I got to stay in
All
the
right.
same room.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
It
Right, but that's
it
hilarious.
gets done how it gets
Right,
done.
right.
Thanks
It's
for putting
comedy
me up.
gold.
Yes.
Comedy
and then
gold,
I
that's
took
what
the
it
train every day to the
Choo choo
show
to the gig and home, or did someone give you a ride home?
Yeah, I got rides home mostly from Billy Anderson. Was on a lot of my shows.
Yeah.
Oh, you know Billy?
Oh, I love
He's the
Billy.
best. Yes, he's great.
I wonder if I know Billy. Billy, do I know you? Have we met Billy Anderson? Probably.
Is this how you do a lot of your business? Is just throwing questions out during the podcast?
This is it.
You got to figure
I was
out
like-
another way to conduct your shit. Lady.
No, it's so successful.
And you were
And I was in Chicago and Minneapolis with Maria Bamford.
Fun.
Yeah, sold out. 3 shows.
Wow.
Crazy ass sold out. But get this. 2 things. First of all, Chicago was beautiful. And then we get on a plane to go to Minneapolis, and the flight's at noon. At 6:20, I get a text message from Maria Bamford that says, "Hey, the flight's been delayed. I've pushed back my checkout at 1 p.m. because the flight's been delayed to 3 o'clock. So from noon to 3 o'clock. It's an hour.
So wait, at 6:20 in the morning she texted you?
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
my
know
God.
I don't know what the hell she was doing up. Possibly working out. We don't know. Maybe having ice cream. Those are the 2 choices, by the way. Probably at 6:20 in the morning.
Besides mental illness, that's actually the most disturbing thing I've ever heard about Maria. Is that she would
She's
be
a
awake
morning
at 6 in the
person.
morning and
Yes.
texting at 6:20.
Right. And I did, of course, got that text at 8.
Yeah.
Which is when Christians wake up.
Yes.
So I said, okay, so then it's 3 o'clock. That means we get there at 4 o'clock, 4:15. Because it's an hour 15 flight from Chicago to Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Right.
Show's at 7:30.
Okay.
At 3 at 2:30, I get a text. Flight's been moved to 4. I am now in full panic mode, even though I can't do anything about it.
Right.
And Maria owns a lot of books about how you can't do anything about shit. And so she's like, yeah, you can't do anything about it. I'm going to show up like I do an hour before the flight and hope for the best.
Yeah.
See you at the Delta Sky Club. And so I get there at 2. I get there at 2 to make sure to see if I can use my telekinesis to make the plane somehow work. And nobody gives a shit. And we get on the plane. We land at 5:30. So at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
we have our
You're off
luggage.
yeah.
And we have a car that
Wait,
takes
you
us-
guys didn't have carry-on?
It was... No, I never do carry-on.
What? I only
never,
do carry-on.
I do not. What am I, some kind of animal? I'm not carrying my
This
bags.
podcast is over.
I'm storming out if you
This
carry
is
on.
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yes,
It's
I
ridiculous.
carry on everything. They charge you $25 per bag.
They don't charge me anything. Hey,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
I'm
depression
sorry.
life.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm living- I'm with the
all
queen.
All you need is a credit card. You have a credit card. You have a credit rating.
Yes.
You get a credit card for Delta or Southwest.
I'm not getting another credit card.
Get rid of old credit cards. New credit card.
I like my credit cards.
Do you like your credit cards?
Why are we talking about this?
Why do
I
you
like my
care
credit
about-
card.
Why do you like your credit
I like
card?
my JetBlue card. I get JetBlue miles on it.
And do you have to pay for luggage on
I don't
that?
know. I haven't investigated it.
It's probably free.
Well, so I'm still carrying on anyway.
I don't
They
think
lose your bags. I want to be able to grab my stuff and roll right off out of the airport into the cab or Uber and go my way. I don't want to stand there like an asshole waiting for not that waiting
Let me
for my
just tell you
bag.
something. If you have the right card, you don't have to stand there like an asshole. They bring it to you.
Wow. Well, I'm not opening for Maria, so
I know.
I wouldn't know what that life's
It's a pretty.
like.
It's a pretty glamorous life so far. As Maria likes to say, it could go away at any minute. That's her slogan. It could end at any minute.
I worked with her at the York on Monday night.
Oh, nice.
Tuesday night, and she didn't see me. She was on stage, and they promoted it that she was there, so it was
Yeah.
like packed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad I'm kind of okay where I am
Yeah.
in comedy, because I wouldn't like to.
There's that Chappelle level, right?
Yeah,
Where
where you're.
She's not there yet,
You're on
but
stage
I know what you're
and
saying.
you're like, have these people seen me recently? Do they know all these jokes?
Yes.
You know, and if there are people that are like Maria trackers, like she's a tornado they're following all around LA, then they're going to have seen stuff before.
Right.
That shit gets in my head. Anything gets on my head. I
Right.
get stuff on my head. I
get
have
stuff
a
in your
whole
head.
interior life going on in my head
you have
during
a
a
committee
show,
meeting
ladies
that
and
is
gentlemen.
going on, and
Yes,
you
I
need to have your
do.
luggage just in case they lose it.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose it. They're not going to lose your luggage.
So
but I
naive.
will say
So
this:
naive.
here's what happened.
Anyway, but
Here's what happened in Minneapolis.
Okay. I did a
Okay.
quick detour, and then we'll go right back to Minneapolis.
Okay.
So she just walked by me really quickly with Scott, and they
Okay.
looked like they were sort of in that get away from onlookers zone.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
we-
And I
we're
was like,
leaving.
I didn't want to pop in. Hey. So I just, I let it pass by. I let the whirlwind pass by. I didn't say hi.
Right, you were like, "Oh, I saw that tornado. I spotted the tornado."
Yes.
Well, here's first of all, she of course would have loved to have said hi.
I know, but I didn't want to.
But you didn't
know
want
what
to
I mean?
slow her
She's
down
in the
because maybe
zone.
other
She's getting
people
out.
might have
Yeah,
gotten.
yeah. If I stop her, then other people glom on. She's like, she's getting
You don't
right
know.
to the car.
Yeah. So here's what happened in Minneapolis. Second show, guy jumps on stage. 5 minutes into her set.
Just she encourages that.
Yeah, because you just want on Molly, which by the way I did not know what it
On
was.
Molly?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
he was on Molly. He was,
I think
on the
I was
drug
thinking
Molly.
the island, MALI. That's how
Oh,
disconnected I
interesting!
am from
Wow,
current
from drugs.
Drugs, yeah,
right.
Molly,
and
yes.
he was on Molly, and he was happy and full of love.
Okay.
and she thought he was drunk, as did I.
Yeah.
Until afterwards, one of the guys at the theater was like, "No, he was on Molly," but he just got on stage. He was like, "I just wanted to meet you. I think you're so great," and she was like.
Oh my
Excellent.
God.
And then security came and picked him up, and she said, "There's coffee back there. You should get some coffee." And it was such a weird. And then she riffed on it for a couple of minutes, and then went back into her set, and then did an hour 10 because he ate up about 5
Wow,
of it. So.
nice.
But
go ahead.
But it was a weird. It was such a. I've never seen anyone jump on stage in love before. I've never seen. I've only seen it in rage. I've only
hostility.
seen it in hostility. I mean, I heard some woman charged the stage one time back in I think it was the early '90s.
Yeah.
And my sister happened to be sitting in the front row and tripped him.
Oh my God.
Tripped her. It was a woman, and a woman took a header right onto stage. And I told my sister later that might have been a little too much. You don't need to trip the person.
It's always good.
It's always good to trip. Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. And what the other thing is Louis Lee. I was taking the flight the
Yes,
next day.
the
to
owner of
visit-
Acme.
The owner of Acme.
Beloved Acme.
Beloved
in
Acme.
Minneapolis.
He produced the show in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was at it was at a theater, the Women's Club.
Oh, cool.
And seats like 600 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, I was flying to Milwaukee to go look at my dad because he's still alive.
to look at him.
Yeah,
he's an
79.
animal to be
He's-
viewed.
There was some moments when I was like, yes, he is. But it was but I was Lewis was flying here because he did that documentary. I think I told you about that documentary with Tom Segura and Chad Daniels.
yeah.
and Pete Lee. It's final. It's a final cut, and so he was showing it. Josh Weinstein from Mystery
Yeah.
Science Theater aired it.
I was going to go and I couldn't.
Oh, you
'Cause
could not
I was
go.
like, I had been away from my son for so many nights,
Too
and
many
I
nights.
needed to be home with him
Yes.
last night.
Fair
Or
enough.
Monday
it was
night.
it was the Monday night. And but I got to see a rough cut of it. It was very, very funny.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that worked out. But we were sitting in the Delta Sky Club. Because now I get to go in the Delta Sky Club, and it's very glamorous. It was actually.
Are you
wasn't.
only taking Delta now? You've committed to Delta?
Delta and Southwest? That's the only ones I'm doing. And it
Wow.
took me, by the way, 15 years to pick an airline.
Yeah.
Previously, I was just leaving money on the table, and as my
guess
father
I'm doing
would
that
say,
now, too.
Because you got to pick an airline. JetBlue, do it. If it goes
I
there,
I do mostly do JetBlue.
right.
Sometimes
If it goes
Virgin.
there, you'll go.
Yeah.
right? You'll do JetBlue.
Yes.
that's all you can do.
They're not always the least expensive, though.
Well, but the points you'll get the free.
They
whatever.
got that red eye out of Burbank. I like that.
You love
one.
that red eye.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're sitting and we're talking we're sitting around and having a cup of coffee, talking, and all of a sudden a guy approaches us and say, "Are you guys in the comedy business?" And it's me, Lewis, and a friend of his. And Lewis freezes, like every club owner in the world, and gets that glazed look in his face going, "Oh my God, that's a comic. He's going to ask me for work. Oh my God, that's a comic. He's going to..." And the woman that he's with is just a friend of his, goes, "Well, I'm not. I'm just adjacent to comedy business talk." And so it is left upon me to say, "I am a comic. You may talk to me." And the guy talked to me. Lewis said word none. None. Did not tell him anything. And the guy was like, he gave me his card. The
Is he a
comic.
comedian?
Yeah, the comic. He looked like he was a corporate guy.
Okay.
And he was paralyzed on his left side. And he told me that. He said, "My left side's paralyzed, so that's my hook."
There's so much happening in that sentence. It's hard to digest it all.
It was a lot. Right. And on his
I
card.
want to hire this guy for every possible gig.
Well, and the thing is, he seemed really nice. I haven't
Yeah.
got a chance to. I followed him on Twitter. He seems like a perfectly nice guy. I can't remember his name.
That's the most you can do is follow somebody on Twitter.
Well, if I followed, and I can't
Then
remember his
mute
name.
them immediately.
It's not. Yeah. So anyway, but
I don't
begrudge that guy anything. It's
okay.
it's comedy. You got to get work.
Yes. So the podcast that dropped last, we taped at 8 a.m. on last Wednesday.
Did we?
Yes. And then by 8 in the
PM.
evening on that Wednesday, Kurt Metzger was on the cover of the Atlantic magazine. And it was like, oh my God, what's happening?
I know.
That because we touched on it, I think lightly a little bit, but
Yeah.
then all
we
this
did was talk
crazy
about
shit
due
happened
process, yes.
after that. I would like to talk about.
Please do. Please, you should talk about it because I've already been attacked. So you should go.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, and this is, and I wonder if this is because we're old and we were raised by rapists in comedy clubs.
Exactly.
Like we're used to them.
Right.
I mean, I don't mean the guy, the actual rape. I mean, like. Just like when I was in I started in San Francisco, there was a guy I was told very early on, I'm not going to say his name, and he's dead now. But
Did you kill him?
No.
Thank God.
His son might do stand up or something. I met his son. He was like, "My dad's that." I go, "Was it true that he's wanted for rape in New York and that's why I moved to San Francisco?" And the son's like,
You said that to his son?
I think so. But that's what I was
I'm
told.
pretty sure.
And the guy I'm talking about, gave off the vibe of somebody. I was like, okay,
And you were warned about.
just warned, stay away from that guy.
Yeah.
So I stayed away. Just stayed out of his orbit. And he wasn't like a power monger or anything, but he's in there. But nobody else was disturbed by it. It was just like, oh, for lady comics, stay away from him. But everybody else, we're going to hang out and talk to him and put him on our shows.
Right.
But
yeah, everybody else is going to book him.
Yeah,
But
but
you
you
might
stay
not want to
away.
be alone with him. That's
Yes.
all I'm saying.
And then there was
Don't take a ride.
a club owner who owned 5 clubs called The Last Laugh. 2 in San Jose, 1 in Portland, 1 in Seattle, 1 in Phoenix. Great clubs. He actually went to jail for sexual assault, and I think it was against a waitress in one of
Okay.
the clubs.
So it doesn't count.
Joe Torres, yeah, right.
Jesus.
But I mean, it was like I was like, oh, I was just used to like say every 15th guy being a predator
Yes.
that I needed to stay away from.
Right.
And it didn't occur to me that I would object to this
Right.
at all.
Right. It was never anything
yeah,
that
you
came
just
up.
go, or that's it.
And how many times
Yeah.
has a supposedly there's happiness
They're playing a
happening.
game downstairs. Yeah.
That's good for them. And so, but I have been like there's a guy who isn't out, so I
Yeah.
will not say his name.
Yeah.
And he constantly is grabbing my boobs and my crotch and my ass.
Seriously?
Yeah. And I've known him forever. And he is gay, but he's not out. And he's always like, I'm gay. It doesn't matter. The last time he did it, I grabbed his balls and I said, I don't care if you're fucking gay. It's my body. You don't
Wow,
get to
that's-
just touch it.
That's nuts.
It's Crazyville. But he's also not out, and so he's repressed.
He's a
and
comic?
Yeah, he's a broy fuck.
Okay.
And
Yeah, but so you and I mean, I think it's
But
really
I-
interesting the response
but
of
for
the younger
years, I
female
never
comics.
did anything about it. Yeah, is what I guess is what I'm
Their
saying.
response is different.
Immediate.
Yes, and I admire it, even though it's not. I'm like maybe too old to care in a way to be rustled out of bed for it, but I'm like I like that they are. I think it's I think it's great though in a way, and that sort of. Here's the thing. I was looking at Kurtz. I was reading Kurtz.
his diatribe.
Satire.
Yes.
And then I actually did read most of A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. It's not that long. I'm not bragging. Which is,
How does it fit in?
That might be the highest level of satire.
Okay.
And it was written in the
Okay.
late 1700s, and it was aimed at the wealthy British who were terrorizing the poor Irish, and it suggested satirically that Irish people sell their 1-year-old babies to the British to be eaten. Okay, so that is so over the top.
Yes.
It's satire.
Yes.
And you have a worthy enemy, which are the British,
Okay.
the wealthy British.
And let's get a dig in.
I think
on the
best satire is
Yeah.
when it's satisfying to have the enemy attacked, right?
Right. And it's a superpower.
And I guess now it's like punching up, punching down, whatever. I don't care how you punch as long as it's funny.
Yeah.
In a way, it's. I'm not judging people's where they punch, but I do think what hurt him.
I judge.
What hurt him is his piece was, the enemy are women who automatically believe other women when they say they're raped, which is like, attacking paramedics.
Yeah, right.
Like there's a whole bunch of other people you could mow down first before you go after the
Right,
helpers, right?
right.
Okay, so that's what set him off. I mean, how many comics do we know are fucking crazy about a certain thing? You know,
Right.
like have you ever been on a long ride? I'm sure you have with a comic, and it's going well. All of a sudden, you accidentally say something, and you trigger the one thing that drives them crazy, and they're
Yes.
like, "Let me tell you about the Jews," and you're like,
Right.
"No, don't tell me about
don't
the
tell
Jews.
me
I
about
don't
the
want to know,
Jews.
please."
We're
I thought you were
6 more
okay.
hours going across North Dakota.
We're not even in Montana yet.
Yes.
Please don't tell me.
I drove across North Dakota one time with a guy who insisted on telling me the history of World War II from the point of view of the Germans. Anyway.
But I mean, I'm used to comics that are also unhinged, but you
Yes.
sort of go, this attracts a lot of very damaged people, right? And we're all damaged, and some of us clean up a lot better, right?
Right.
And I'm not. So whatever, if someone's misfiring on Twitter and Facebook, and they obviously they don't have the thing telling them don't write this.
Right.
This is
you don't
something you say
it's
to
the
your
Reynolds
friend. You
pamphlet.
don't write it.
It's not.
It doesn't mean they're equal to an actual rapist, in my opinion.
right, and-
I'm used to like this cloud of crazy thought following a lot of comics.
I'm used to it. What you were saying about our age and about how long we've been doing it, to some extent, and I don't want to actually. I feel wrong saying this, but I'm sick of talking about sexism. There's part of me that I'm sick, but I know that we are just beginning with Hillary.
Oh, my God.
Possibly
I
for
know.
4 years, or if we're lucky, 8.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah.
But I'm already tired.
Yep.
I'm tired, and I'm like, but I'm not going to just. There's another part of me that will not allow it. I will not allow the sexism to be said in front of me because I'm sick of standing by, too. Because I, too, have stood by.
Right. Yep.
Too many times. And my thing with Metzger is, and we have said this before, is that to be on the side of Metzger is always a hilarious because he is a button pusher.
Yeah.
So he will go the extra step,
Right.
to hopefully to get the laugh.
If I was his lawyer, I wouldn't put him on the stand.
Don't put him on the
Please,
stand.
please let me take care of this.
Right.
I'll bring in a lot of character witnesses, but you don't go on the stand. Yeah,
And I got attacked a bunch yesterday on somebody again tagged me on Facebook and said that I was in favor of due process. That wasn't how they put it.
No.
But that's how I put it.
Right.
And so I had to go, yes, I am in favor of due process. That's why Hammurabi made the giant wood things and put them in the square.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
It's a thing.
Okay.
And so, but it doesn't matter. But I said, is there anyone in this thread? And I've asked on my private Facebook thing, is there anyone who actually knows these women who have been attacked? And if they do, tell me the story of what happened, and I will light a fire. But I had 2 people come on the other thread, nothing from the women's, from the private group. But on this thread, I had a guy and a woman say, 2 people removed knows these people.
Yeah.
It's too far.
Well,
it's too far for me.
I don't even think we don't even have to be in judgment of this. Like rape is a crime, and if it happened, he's a fucking criminal, and fuck him.
And it's a privately owned business. UCB is a privately owned business.
Yeah, that whole
Creek in
thing's
the Cave
crazy that
is
they're all of a
privately
sudden
owned
they're
business.
law and order. Yeah, but what however all that shakes down, that I think that's a separate issue from what's happening with Kurt.
Okay.
And
what's happening with Kurt?
Well, here's the thing, and the reason I brought up Jonathan Swift is that the other thing I think Kurt didn't do that Jonathan Swift did is he went way over the top with his example.
I love that my Hammurabi thing is too intellectual, but you're Jonathan Swift PhD.
Okay, so he's saying eat Irish babies. Of course that's insane. Cannibalism wasn't even legal in Britain back then, although you think it was the way those fucking assholes were. So Kurt actually, when he was portraying this character in this piece of someone who's
so he's doing a character.
It's kind of when he's doing that I'm Jiffy Dilberg or whatever whatever that thing was. It was like that. I don't know if it's a comedic device of you're defending something, and the more you talk, the worse you make it. I mean, you've seen that in a million movies and stuff, but. He used language like raping the good hole that isn't over the top enough. That you can see on any comment thread about any woman that's been attacked,
and it's coming from a genuine place where it's a horrible person actually saying it.
Right. And so he left himself open, and besides maybe some other things that he posted, but he left himself. Oh, made it worse. Where if you're bringing in animals or whatever it is, that's another thing. You go, do I really want to go down this path? Is this hilarious?
Here's what I want him to rape. I want him to rape a black hole. I want him to bring it out into space. Then he's Jonathan Swift it, right?
Yeah,
then he's made it big enough.
Maybe. But what I'm saying, so what he did was he left little couplets, little sentences that people who don't know comedy, people who just saw
don't know
Kurt
him.
Metzger rape apologist, and then they find raping the good hole, and they attribute it to him as if he said it from his heart instead of in this kind of failed satirical piece. And then it becomes this gigantic thing, and Amy Schumer gets dragged in while she's on a book tour trying to sell a book. She has
Right.
to talk about that. It's crazy. And what's dangerous, even if you can't stand what Kurt said,
Right.
what's dangerous is how quickly people that are not comics, people that don't know that someone's doing comedy,
Now we're
jump
getting
in
down to it.
and go, this person said this.
This
And
is
they did the same fucking thing to Jen Kirkman about 3 weeks ago. And the opposite people did it. Like you have, say, the angry left, maybe, I'm sure I'm mischaracterizing, but angry at Kurt for being, quote, pro-rape or whatever,
Right.
like totally misunderstanding what he was saying. And then you have people, the right, angry at Jen Kirkman, so they're going through old tweets
And taking him out of context.
taking him out of context, and then now she. There's one article, and then the way the internet is, one person writes one think piece,
Right, and
some
then-
piece, and then someone cuts and pastes and puts it on there, and then all of a sudden there's 50 articles,
Right.
and you Google someone's name, and the first 3 pages are, so and so hates this, and so loves rape, and
Right.
and it's awful, and it's really bad for comedians.
Well, that's when we.
No matter who you are, it's bad for comics.
I love that the end of this 4-minute rate is like, and then it's really bad for comedy. That's where it
it
all
is.
blows up. Is that comedians are being hurt here?
But
I don't think you don't understand. There's people being raped. Yes, it's very
No,
sad.
Jackie, they're
No.
totally separate things.
No, I
I'm
know.
saying
No,
the
I get it.
whirlwind of over
Yeah, no.
misunderstanding and deliberately misinterpreting something
Yes.
someone's saying can happen to anybody.
It can happen.
And
It's
it's
the
totally
slipperiest.
separate from the crime, the crimes that may have been committed.
Right. It's
And
the commentary
yes.
on the crimes. The crimes are separate from the commentary
Yeah,
on
so
the crimes.
the fact that it's all getting mushed together drives me nuts. You
Right.
know, and I'm less willing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. But I was a Jane Doe in a case against my swim coach. So I'm like, if one person says it, I'm like, motherfucker, you're going down. And you've got more than one person, it's really unlikely that 2 people,
No,
or 2
I'm-
women
I'm
are going to,
completely-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, no. I entirely.
Yeah.
All I want is I don't need even the name of one person or 2 people. I just need to know someone who actually knows these 2 people.
No, we don't even need to know that. We don't need to even know the story. You know what I mean? We don't need to know the women who were raped need to get justice, and the person who raped them, if it all happened, needs to go to prison. And that's it. Like we don't need to be told anything else. That's their, and the fact that it's such a big story, that's got to make what happened a million times worse,
Okay.
I think if a crime like that happens to you and all of a sudden it's a storm and Amy Schumer's being drawn into it and you're just like, I was here at a place and a guy attacked me and I just want fucking justice for it. And the fact that it's just
Yes.
morphed into this gigantic thing is harmful.
I haven't even heard that much, though. Mm-hmm. I was at a place and a guy attacked me. I haven't even heard that much. All I've heard was, if you want to know more, you should email marissa@ucbtheater.com, which I have not done. But it sounded like a press release from UCB.
I don't wanna know
UCB
more.
hasn't said.
I just hope that
But
if-
UCB hasn't even said anything.
Yeah. It's none of our business. To me, that part's none of our business. And it's not, what's our business.
What's our business is stand up.
Yes. And kind of noticing how, you can hate everything Kurt wrote, but
I haven't read everything Kurt wrote. I last time we discussed it, I skimmed what Kurt wrote. But the thing is I know Kurt Metzger.
Yes.
And so I knew that it was satire, and
Yeah.
I knew that what I got the point that he was making,
Mm-hmm.
which was a thing about due process and the reason we have due process. Because if somebody said, "Hey, Jackie Cation is a hate crime person. She has committed a hate crime, and I'm not going to tell you who told me that." And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, somebody would be
Right.
like, well, she once made a weird comment
Yeah.
about a Chinese guy. And then all of a sudden, I'm blackballed.
Right.
So it's a slippery slope is all.
That is also a slippery slope. That's
Right.
a separate
Me-
sort of slippery
Right.
slope than the
From a comedic point of view,
right.
I don't care. I just want to do stand-up comedy, right? And if somebody acts inappropriately to me
Yeah.
or in front of me, I want to have the guts to pipe up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, of
That's
course.
what I
Yes, yes,
want.
yes.
I have stood by while sexist things were done to me, sexist were done around
Yeah, me too.
me.
Of course, yes.
And I have not been the hero of that.
Right.
And I would like to not. I've been a coward. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, am I not going to get booked? Are
Right,
these
yep.
guys going to hate
Yep.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Are these guys going to be like, it's not that big of a deal? What are you doing all in your head? And I'm like, is it? Is it in my head? Which is why I come back to that same story where it's so great that the next
Yes.
generation have each other.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
Like the Eliza Skinner. Did you see her post
No,
today?
uh-uh.
And it was this great thing about it was long. My favorite paragraph, which was not even the best paragraph of it, but was she said that she was confused by how angry, not bored, not disinterested, but genuinely angry some men get about the idea of the WNBA. Like, because there's
It's
guy
true.
comics.
That's a classic topic on a long car ride with a guy comic. That and alimony with a divorce mail comic. Holy fuck. Do not go near it. Oh my God.
But she's like, why are you angry about the and just don't watch it.
Yeah,
What does it have
right,
anything to
right.
do with you?
Yeah.
And it's an anger that is not paralleled in women's volleyball.
Yeah.
Or in women's tennis.
Right? You mean men aren't as mad about beach volleyball as they are about
or even
the
tennis,
WNBA. Yeah,
right? Where
yeah.
where you're just like women have ponytails and
Yeah.
and they're wearing
They're
cute
girly.
skirts.
Yes, they're wearing
And-
skirts.
Right, and basketball. Those are women who don't have time to do pigtails at
Yeah.
this point. They are literally playing basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't want to watch any of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't enjoy sports. But the only sport, and you are not going to be happy to hear this. The only sport
Quidditch. No.
I would watch Quidditch. The only thing I watch is the X Games. I like to watch skateboarding. So,
Okay. So, and the other.
moving on,
Wait, I had a thought, and it was fucking brilliant.
and it was brilliant.
It was gonna shut the world down. Oh, so the other thing about this whole. The whole Kurt, the whole rape, whatever, all this. It's like
We're still
it's,
talking about
it's
this.
so sexist for female comics and comedy. Like you never hear about female comics and from the media unless they're talking about how we're all getting raped and and it's like, are you?
Right.
Do you
Can
guys
anybody
go to
talk
fucking
about-
nightclubs? Did you go see me? And because we work in nightclubs,
Yeah.
So if you want to make things better for female comics, fucking come out when we're headlining at a club and see us. Don't sit there and write your little think piece and you've never been in a club. Oh, I watch comedy on YouTube. You're not contributing to anyone's income.
Right.
So don't fucking comment on comedy if you don't go to clubs.
Yeah. Get out to live comedy. It's the way to go.
Yeah.
And support. And that's what you were posting this last week about if you like women comics so much, here's a
Yeah.
bunch of women comics that are
Yes.
working. Why
Yeah.
don't you go?
We're all- yeah. Thank God that happened when I was working. I was like, oh, this paired perfectly with my road weekend.
Exactly. It's a Twitter ad promo.
Yeah.
Talk to me briefly about Tony Kameen introing you in 1994.
Oh my God.
What the heck was that?
I'm going. First of all, I got this DVD player that you can hook up to your computer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not a VHS player, so it can you can.
Thank you, Grandma
Take your
Kilmartin.
stuff in.
There is any of them.
No, really.
Right? Is it like
Oh,
a close and
I
play
guess
that you're
I
pretty
have
psyched
the,
about? Okay. You got the chords.
The chords. Okay,
you went and got some.
whatever. Yeah.
No, but you hooked up your
Yeah.
VHS. So you digitized.
I had to buy an old VHS. Player,
Yeah, and
but
so you digitized
So I'm
an
starting
old
to digitize. I'm going through. I have a ton of VHS tapes, and I'm going through some, and I see Tony Kameen
introing
you with the
94.
punchline in '94. It's fucking
That was
fun,
awesome.
man.
That was
yeah.
it was pretty great. Tony Kameen's great.
He's hilarious. Sorry, I just threw a water cap at
That'll
you.
happen. Do you want to do comic of the week?
Yeah,
Let's Maggie May,
Miss Maggie May from
You know Maggie May?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Really great comic.
Maye last name.
Maye.
And, she did Conan. She's done Conan. Very
Right,
funny.
I saw her in Austin the last time I saw her. She
Oh,
was
that's
at Moon
cool.
Tower.
I just
So funny, so smart.
yeah, and she subtweeted the whole world today when this week when she was like, how can I tell you're joking when you're not being funny?
Wow, sew that on a pillow.
Exactly.
That's what women comics should clearly be doing. We should be having sewing circles and sewing our jokes onto pillows.
Hey, it's merch after the show, man.
Right, if there's some sort of sewing circle.
And then today was nuts for, so there was this article about the new Netflix.
Oh, right.
The new Netflix.
You posted
slate.
that on Facebook.
Yeah,
Like, it's
and I
Wednesday
just-
night, by the way.
Okay, so it's
Meltdown.
Wednesday night, yeah.
That's what you heard was the very successful
Yeah.
Meltdown show. Down
Yeah,
here
we're not
at-
on that show. I just call that show that we're not on that show. So I, Netflix proudly introduced their slate for the fall. 8 specials, 8 male comics.
Very diverse. Super diverse.
Yeah.
A lot of not white
And-
guys.
No, and I don't have each one of them. I'm not against any one of those comics.
No,
like
no, and
people
some
were
of them
like
were-
slamming the comics. I'm like, it's not their fault. It's just like there's no fucking women you could put in this in your
The
eight.
good things that that eight had 2 good things going for it, which was the diversity and the age. There was
The
a couple
age diversity.
There was also
Yes.
age diversity, and there was non-white.
Yes, and it was
dudes.
nice. So it's nice that men can age in comedy, and
Men?
maybe by
Yeah.
the time you young women are old, you'll be able to age too. You and I will
Right.
never receive
No.
any of these benefits whatsoever.
I tweeted today. I said, Netflix, seriously, never going to be younger than today. Get in
know.
on a young me now.
You know what?
This is
Don't-
it.
I say don't even come at that. It's like, fuck it. You've been doing comedy 30 years. You're really, really funny. That's why they should be booking you.
No, I
And
was kidding. That was
and
satire.
I know, but I'm angry.
Right, oh,
Don't
then be
interrupt
angry.
me when I'm mad. And in 5 years, you're gonna be 5 years funnier. So they should put yours up now and then put you back up in 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you get funnier. If
Yeah.
you don't stop and you keep writing, you get funnier. That's what happens. You can't go backwards.
It's true. But Guy Branum was nice because he tweeted at Netflix.
I know.
And said,
Guaranteeing we'll never get.
Right, guaranteeing that none of the 3 of us will get any work from Netflix.
But that got a lot of,
Got a
retweet. That was
retweets and a lot
cool.
of attention, and
That was sweet.
And it made me get my trailer for my dork.
Everyone felt sorry for these old comics.
They were like, "Let's do this."
Well, yeah, we won't watch your special, but we'll give them a retweet.
Yeah, I was like, "Why don't you just go to Comedy Film Nerds and buy my special?" Did you see how I worked an ad in?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, right there. Just now.
Just now.
Just now.
Good for you.
I said you go to Comedy Film Nerds and get my
right.
special. It's $10 because I'm not Louis C.K.
Yeah.
he can charge $5.
Yeah.
and 100,000 people will do it.
Yeah.
3,000 people are buying mine, so give me 10. So that's what I say.
Yeah,
It's a great story.
It's not a great story, but it's fair, and the value that they're getting. I'm
Yeah.
tired of people expecting top quality content for free.
Yeah, it's
As I say on our podcast.
on our free podcast.
we do for nothing.
Exactly. Enjoy it.
But
Enjoy
yeah,
it.
like you gotta pay for some shit. That's how we pay for shit. You can't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I've
We have a human
ranted about this
experience. We have a
before.
human experience.
But
I got a review
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Oh.
Or Maria did.
Okay.
And I got a paragraph, and it was very sweet.
oh, cool.
And but it was a good review.
yeah,
But how weird is this? Even good reviews are weird.
they're not good enough.
Well, it was he didn't get the guy wrote it and he was like, "Well, she talked about this and she was surprisingly." He said something like, "I was surprisingly okay with myself,"
Oh my god! What? Oh my god!
which I was like, okay, okay." I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, he meant it in the nice. I mean, I could because the next line was something like it was very funny. She was talking about, how she was surprised, but it was surprisingly good self-esteem. About it was like, I was
Oh
like,
my god!
why is that where the angle that you think I'm taking on this joke? Because every single joke I do
Yeah.
are written purposefully. It turns out I'm not a fucking monkey throwing shit at the wall.
Wait a minute, it's
I
like-
wrote a goddamn
Yeah,
joke.
but you've been doing comedy for 30 years, and his review is he surprised you don't hate yourself? That's like his takeaway?
I think that is a take. Don't you think? How many times have you fucking comics have to hate themselves, man? They have to hate themselves. They have to drink themselves into a stupor. Everyone wants to grow up and be David Foster Wallace and shoot himself in the head or hang himself or who the great American. As much as I loved Mitch Hedberg, the saddest thing was that Mitch Hedberg died.
Yeah.
Because the saddest thing about Greg Giraldo is that
Yeah.
he died.
Yep.
That the greatest thing is that George Carlin died an old man.
Yeah.
That is a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg Giraldo was a great comic.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg was a great comic. That you don't have to kill yourself to be a great comic. George Carlin died in bed.
Yeah.
An old man.
Old-ish. He kinda
Well,
had
as we get
another
older,
temper.
it was it becomes younger every year. Yeah. Oh my God! So I went and saw my family. How's your mom? By the way,
Fine. Holding up shirts, asking if she has to hang this one up or fold it. That's how I spent an hour tonight when I was trying to read Jonathan Swift to prepare for
Okay.
this podcast.
Oh my! I thought of a joke, by the way, that there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
because it's a reference to the book Watership Down, and it's not just it's about rabbits.
Oh.
and it's a coming of age story about
Okay.
bunnies. Anyway, it's a very good. It's a political satire and parable with bunnies, and but they're. It's not just a reference to Watership Down. It's also a reference to a particular chapter in Watership Down, and it's a racial analogy between white privilege and The Shining Wire.
So you're going to spend your precious time writing a joke about this topic?
I got to spend my precious time not explaining and not reading a chapter aloud to the audience in a hostage situation so that I can fucking tell a joke about it that 4 people are going to get. And it, so
well, I had a pedophile joke earlier
I had to
this week.
step away. Oh, yeah? Did it-
Just that whole thing of like, let me just get this joke out of my system.
Ugh.
I know it's not a keeper.
I know it's
Sorry,
not a
I
keeper.
interrupted you.
No, but it's true though. But there's jokes you write, and you're just like, nobody's gonna care about
Why
this. There's
am I
gonna
spending my
and there's
time on
part
this?
of me that wants to do the joke for 3
Yes.
people, but I already have 4 of those goddamn jokes.
Have 4 hours.
They
of
don't
that.
need. They don't need. I don't need one more. We're all good. I can
Yeah.
work it into a podcast. How about that? I have the Dork Forest that I can talk about whatever weird. Possibly I'll have a Watership Down dork on. We don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, next episode of the Dork Forest: Pirates.
Really?
Yeah, a Bay Area guitar comic named Phil Johnson.
know
Talking
him.
about pirates.
I don't think I know him.
He's got long Ren Fair hair.
Oh, wow.
He's a dream come true. That guy. He's kind of dreamy looking, and he plays a guitar and he works the road hardcore. Phil
Down
Johnson.
girl.
What?
Down girl.
Down girl.
You got a man at home.
I do have a man, and but it was yeah. Anyway, so I
Yeah.
could have talked to him about any kind of. I'm sure he would have gotten my Watership Down reference. Who knows?
Well, once you start a podcast with him, I'm not interested.
You're not in. Stomp, stomp, stomp.
And holy shit, what had happened to Leslie Jones today?
Oh Christ! I couldn't read what had been said about her. That's what Eliza Skinner was talking about.
Oh.
She was talking about how people are saying, yes, it was sexist, yes, it was racist, but more than that, what the banana heads on the internet were saying was entirely about because she isn't traditionally cute. She isn't traditionally beautiful. She's a tall woman who is also a super strong woman and not traditionally beautiful. And they were like, that's what they're making fun of.
Yeah.
That's what Eliza Skinner was talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
before she got to the WNBA rant that I loved.
Yeah. Just awful. Just like
not okay. Yeah. Keep it together, folks.
bad news. You just got a starring role in a movie. Bad news. Because
Bad
you're about
news.
to be shredded by people who are angry at you for being in a movie.
And being successful and being good at what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to, congratulations on your success. Now, there's going to be 11 guys sitting in a basement who know HTML who are going to try to destroy you.
Yeah. I think here's my takeaway from any is do not pay attention. But it's hard to say that when, if you look at, I've just had little situations where my feed gets full. Usually when I
You're
tweet
hilarious
against the
on
NRA.
Twitter. You're just,
But then it's like, oh, fuck you and stuff. But if I'm guessing if your feed is full of racist images, it's hard to just go mute. At some point, you just want to go. You don't want
you'd
to
have
have
to
to
get-
spend
you-
your day muting racists.
Right, you gotta get
that's
an
hours
intern.
out of
Get
your
an
life.
intern,
Yes,
Leslie.
I guess so.
and
But because when it seems to me when you show that you're hurt, then they really go in for the kill.
coyotes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
You're-
it's easy to say, oh, don't pay attention, just mute it, and
Yeah.
and let
It's
when you're
BS.
the person that has to sit there and
And mute it.
take that all in and then mute it.
Yeah.
because when you block, they get proud.
I don't care. They can be proud.
I know, but that activates. Honestly, the more you can just
You know, my stepmother used to tell me that when I used to get beat up when I was a kid. She's
Yeah.
like, just ignore it.
that's different.
It was just
Getting physically attacked, you can't ignore that.
Well, it was mostly verbal, and then occasionally I get beat up.
Right.
And then verbal. And she's like, just ignore them. They'll go away eventually. And I did it for a decade, right? From when I was probably 8 years old.
Yeah.
Well, not probably 5 or 6 years. And then I stopped ignoring it and I started doing heckler. Like I just sort of started commenting back. And I could shut them down sometimes that way. And then I started actually getting beat up because I fought back.
That is a face-to-face interaction versus you piss off one person who is going to go on Reddit and then say, hey, all 80 people in this thread, attack this person right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's it's a different animal, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm a big fan of blocking. I know that some people say that
Gives somebody the satisfaction of knowing that they bothered you.
Right. I get the satisfaction of having blocked them. And so together, we're both happy, I say. And but the here's good news about Leslie is her and Morgan Murphy were having an exchange on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can we both be can all three of us be acquaintances? And
You horned in on it?
I horned in on it.
Oh my God.
And Leslie,
You're shameless.
And she tweeted back at me. She said, we could be acquaintances.
Oh, cool.
And I said, excellent. We can be just like Morgan Murphy, where we run into each other every 4 years and go, hey, you're a nice enough person. And then we politely ignore each other for the next 4 years.
Morgan Murphy had a thing stolen from her. She
a joke?
She took a clip, and maybe she recorded it on her iPhone from NBC because you can't grab anything from NBC.
No,
right?
they're on it.
She took a clip, and then she added Beastie Boys to it, and it was the synchro team, synchronized swimmers. You know, they do a lot of duck work up top.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious! And she's like, "This is something
This is an
like
Olympic synchronized swimming thing."
Just
that
like
she did,
this
right?
is like you and your bestie when you walk in to a manicure shop and demand pedicures,
Yes.
right? And it was really funny. And then someone took her work, which is the Beastie Boys matchup, and it synced perfectly with their head turn. It was hilarious. And then I just did a different version of it. Just wrote a different. This is my so and so when something.
A different joke about going to the nail salon.
Whatever it looked like.
They sent him off to the grocery store.
Yeah, this is you and your friend when whatever it was. But yeah.
But they just stole it.
They took that.
Boo.
Yeah, totally boo.
Yeah, because it's...
And I retweeted the second one, not knowing it, and someone told me that was Morgan Murphy's. And
oh, that's the worst, is when you're like, hey, that's a joke thief.
Yeah,
that's
I enabled.
Right, and then you're like, oh, well, now I got to somehow undo.
I unretweeted. And
you unretweeted and
then retweeted Morgan's.
And you're busy changing the mind one person at a time of the entire internet on Twitter.
Well, here's the thing. That's what worries me, too, about, like, you know, I'll do like search. You know, I'll just search the
You'll hit
hashtag MAGA. If you want. I think it's important to know because these people are only talking to themselves. You know, a lot of them have very few followers or whatever, and so they're just in this echo chamber of everyone's voting for Trump, MAGA, never Hillary, Hillary. It's all this crazy hashtags, and I sort of like to just go.
Yeah, you do.
Heads up.
Yeah, you do.
There's a lot of Hillary. Yeah, and you're not winning, and you're not going to win. And please don't think the election's rigged because that's not what's happening right now. Okay.
Right, there's 9 of you. You're good. You're good.
But you know. They could decide, who the fuck's this bitch? And start going through my tweets and find one that's poorly written or written so ambiguously that it looks like I'm racist and then go, you know.
First of all, let me just say there are none of your tweets that are poorly written.
No,
these are some well-crafted tweets.
Go back, man. Go back a couple of years before I
you know that I bought a bot that deleted all my tweets.
Why?
Because I didn't like the number. I had number shame.
Oh, you had too many?
I had number shame. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even pay attention to that.
Well, they got rid of it. It's not as obvious as it used to be.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the bot was great because it would delete everything above 3,000.
Oh,
it would let me get to 3,000 and it would delete everything before that.
Okay.
And but guess what? Twitter found that bot and disabled it.
Oh.
And so now I think I have like 30,000 tweets because I'm Chatty Magoo. I am a chatty. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I mentioned it to Andy Kindler, and he was like, cheating. You will always be responsible for everything you've ever tweeted. And I was like, all right.
He's right.
And because they're reposting things at Donald Trump. What are you doing this week?
Well,
When this
will
drops.
air after. I was in Napa this weekend. I'm
You're
going to
going to
drive to Napa.
Okay.
I don't know when I'm going to be in the Bay Area again. You know, I don't have a place to stay there anymore.
I'm doing a run that is now done.
yeah.
I'm doing a December, it's like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And they're all one-nighters around there. I'm doing
that's cool.
Throckmorton and the Walnut Creek thing. It's
Yes,
a go.
Masses.
I'm
sure.
doing Masses.
And where are you staying? Do you have a place?
I have.
You demanded a hotel, right?
I demanded some hotels,
Good.
and it may or may not work. And then one of the last nights. I think it's the Thursday. I'm driving up to Arcata.
Jesus, that's almost in Oregon.
It's another 4 hours.
Oh my God, beautiful
And-
up there though.
But it pays good.
Dude,
So.
I used to do one-nighters. Dan Kaufman up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, way back.
I've never been. But
It's
me
pretty.
and Dash
It's Old Town. It's
Kwiatkowski,
right near Eureka.
bunch of hippies, crystal
lot
clutchers,
of
just
pot.
full of crystal clutchers and pot growers.
I don't know. I think pot, mostly
Yeah.
pot. Yeah.
And so yeah, me and Dash Kwiatkowski are going to go do this weird run, and I think Kate Willett said that she was going to try to find me on Monday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
she's the
'cause
best.
She is the best.
Yeah,
and
I like her post on Twitter. I think she's part of that younger generation that
I feel
gets-
like she's a good leader on that.
totally yeah, and I love it. Like I'm like, oh, that's not me necessarily, but I like someone that's fucking poking bears, man, and waking them up.
And
you know,
she posted something that I unsolicited, and this
Yeah.
is not done in comedy. And as soon as I posted, I was like, oh, and I couldn't find a post to delete it. But I said, I know this is weird, but I want you to do a bit about that. And I should have
Yeah.
just called her like a person.
No,
Instead, I just
don't
gotta
do that.
post it on because then she could ignore it.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you say something out loud to somebody, they're more than willing to just go. You know, when you tag somebody,
Yeah.
someone says, "Take it or leave it." This is this is a tag I thought, and 9 times out of 10 you leave it.
Yeah.
But the one time you're like, "Well, thanks for telling me
Yeah.
that," and I will use it. So
God, it's so funny. This guy, a comic named John McDowell. Do you know him?
sounds familiar.
He was he's from outside of Dallas, Denton, Texas, and I worked with him. So funny, such a great joke writer.
Oh, good.
And he ended up selling a lot of his material to a big headliner. He kind of got out of the business.
Okay.
I could write the person's name down. I don't think
Sure.
I should tell you. But when I was in Dallas at a secrets
Should
I'm
I
giving away.
Should I write down the name of the gay guy who groped me
Yes.
Yeah, that'll
all
be
right,
fun
let's
for all
write
of
down.
us.
We'll
Do you
do
wanna
some
do it?
write downs. All right.
right now?
Right. All right.
Well, it's a clock eater. We know that. Jesus.
You know that guy buys material, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a known thing?
No.
Okay.
And is
What?
that who you're guessing?
Yeah.
Yes to your top one,
Oh.
and yes to your bottom one. Kyle Clark. Kyle Clark for the win.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh,
He
just-
gropes you?
Yeah, he's gross. Yeah, and I've known him
Huh.
since he was 11 or 12. No, not really, but I mean,
Wow,
I've been doing
interesting.
stand up since the dawn of man.
Yeah.
So, and since he was born.
You guessed both of them?
did.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
Kyle nailed both of them from
Amazing.
across the room, ladies and gentlemen.
You should be in the WNBA.
Hashtag Kyle is for lovers. And so,
Oh,
yes.
but John McDowell, usually when people give me tags, it's just off a little bit,
Okay.
off where
Yeah.
I'm going or something. Or they'll tag an old bit I'm trying to murder and put in the ground.
Right. Please don't
You know
take
that joke you
is
hate?
done.
Here's how you can extend it.
Here's how you can keep talking about that for another 12 seconds. I don't
Or
want to talk
12
about
years.
it. Right. You know, the first time I
John McDowell always gives me great tags.
Oh, does
Yeah.
he though?
Yes.
Oh, because that's a great.
Yeah.
People have tagged. I think we've talked about this. I've gotten some great tags. I got a great one from Mike Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a great one from Dave Mornall.
Yeah.
I tagged Larry Miller one time. I think I told you that.
Oh, did he take it?
He took it.
Nice.
And it was in like 92, 93. And it was just a weird joke about the Navy, and I made a portage reference where you have to carry the boats.
Yeah.
And he used it, and it killed, and then
Yeah.
he pointed at me from the stage. It was kind of great.
cool.
Yeah, it's always I loved Larry Miller.
Yeah.
Larry Miller's a great comic. So.
I also worked with a guy named Chad last weekend. His name just popped in my head.
Oh, cool. Oh, and I meant to say this week that when this comes out,
Yes.
the Monday, Tuesday through Friday at 4 p.m., I'm going to run my hour album at the Clubhouse on Vermont at 4 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
Middle of the afternoon.
Like a Maria thing?
Yeah, like Maria did, and I'm sure I will not get. It might just be me and Jason Van Glass working the sound.
Cool.
But it's free at 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'll get to work on the order, and I'll get to work the. And this, I mean, right now after we do this, I'm going to Canada, and I'm doing a bunch of long sets, so I'm going to work on that too
That's
because
cool.
I'm doing Winnipeg's Odd Block.
Do you have a lot of road work coming up where you can work out the whole thing?
I do. That's why I took those gigs up in Santa Cruz and Arcata. And then I'm going to Toronto, and I have 2 long sets in Toronto at JFL 42.
Oh, that's cool.
So that should be fun. I'm going to do a live Dork Forest at Odd Block with Dan Telfer. About some video game that just came out, No Man's Sky.
Okay.
No Man's Sky? Sound right? There we go.
How much time have we done?
55.
Oh, 5 more
We're
minutes.
at 55 minutes, you guys. What? How can we change the world? Can I open your notebook to any page?
Yeah.
All right.
It's just a new one, so
It's a brand new one.
it's newish.
Oh, female babysitters charge extra.
Oh, this is that was part of the pedophile joke.
Oh, that you had
This
to
is how
bail
I
on?
went into it. I tried it. Well, my first attempt was, and I'm only telling you this because I don't think it's going to end up working, is that female babysitters charge a no molestation surcharge. Surcharge, which is why, sometimes I get the male babysitter and
There's
cross
a
my fingers.
big thing came out in San Francisco area. There's a high school teacher who is being charged with statutory.
Yeah.
A female teacher,
Yeah.
female student.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That happened in the Bay Area another time in Moraga, I think.
You guys are okay with the gays and have been for some time.
Yeah.
So things are happening. I have never heard of such a thing. It seems very, very forward thinking.
Yeah.
Of an older lady teacher falling in love with a 16-year-old girl child.
Ugh,
Girl
so
woman.
creepy.
Not cool. Still not okay. Doesn't
If
matter.
you're 16, you don't want your first person
To be
no matter whether
36?
or yes. They should be 18 at the
Yes.
yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please try to go age appropriate.
Yeah,
And,
please.
that's and also, Gramication would like to tell you, don't do drugs until college. Anyway, that's what I tell all my nieces and nephews. I'm like, sex and drugs. Wait till college. Wait till college. I know you're 15. I know you want to. In other news, read a book. So that's...
Are you just filling time right now compulsively?
Yeah, I'm filling time. What happened to me this weekend?
What?
2 minutes.
We got the
Kyle, 2
2 minute light.
Here's what happened. I went to Milwaukee after Chicago and Minneapolis. I went to Milwaukee to visit my dad, and I brought Andy because he is lovable and everyone loves him. And he actually, he was like, my family, there's no filter. There's no off switch.
Wait, really?
I know, it's hard
Your
to believe that
family?
there's no off switch. Andy Ashcraft, when he was a boy, he tells this story. He says his
You guys
dad
left
told him-
the off switch in Armenia. We immigrated to
Exactly.
America.
We buried it with our gold when the Turks took us. So the craziest thing is, so my great aunt Alice tells me this story about how my dad, when in the 50s, would go to the public pool, and he was so dark that they wouldn't let him in because they thought he was black. And so she said she went to the pool. They all went and they wouldn't let my dad in because they thought he was black. And so he lowered the side of his
my
trunks
God.
so that they could see he had a white stripe on him.
Yeah.
And then they let him in, not realizing the irony of how stupid the whole process thing was. Because you were like, oh, he's black, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, he's white, he's not terrible.
Wait. Oh, and he showed us his ass. Oh, okay. Now he can go.
Now he can go in. Thank you for showing us this a side cheek of your booty. I just said booty. Someone
know.
kill me.
I would, but I'm too tired.
It's the
Maybe we should have ended this 2 minutes ago. Why do we always have to go to 60? Can't we go to 58 if we know the
that we're
checks
wrapping
are
it up?
in?
The checks are dropped. Everyone's seen everything.
Yeah, the
Well,
feature
because I have
left,
to
the
finish
MC
this
wants to
goddamn
go home.
sentence.
All right.
Which is that when Andy was a kid, his dad said to him, before you open your mouth, before you talk, take a look around the room and think to yourself, does anyone give a shit? That's what he was told when he was 11. I was never told that. I was told, make them give a shit. And that is why I do stand-up comedy.
Yeah. It's very inspiring. Make them
Very.
give a shit.
Make them give a shit, Jackie. Keep writing. That's what I've turned that into. But the triumphant thing that happened this weekend with my dad is my dad said something racist in the car, and for the first time in my life, I said, "Shut up, Dad." I
for
said
you.
nothing else but that, and I left it at that. And he shut up.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a triumph.
Congratulations.
It reminds me of when I told my dad that he had to stop making fun of my weight, or I would make fun of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I said he was making fun of my weight because he's a huge fan of that great old joke about 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack. And he used to say that to me all the time.
Oh, my God.
And I finally,
No.
I was probably 6 or 7 years into stand-up, and we're driving in the car, and he made some crack like that. And I said, Dad, you know, when you make fun of my weight, it hurts my feelings. So you have to stop making fun of my weight, or I will make fun of you, and I will hurt your feelings because I do it for a living. And he goes, oh, well, you know I'm just kidding. And I said, yeah, I know it. What I'm saying is that it hurts my feelings, and if you say it again, I'm going to make fun of you, and it's going to hurt because I do it for a living. And he goes, all right. Well, you know, I'm just kidding. I said, no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that if you do it again, I'm going to hurt your feelings. And he goes, fine. And there was this pause, and he goes, I was just kidding. And so get this. He's
Wait.
never made fun of my weight
Oh.
since then.
That's great.
And you know what my therapist said when
Right.
I went to a
We
therapist?
have to stop this podcast. I can't take this anymore. Please make it end.
I think
Please
that's the
make it
name of
end.
it. He's never made another joke. We can stop it. Say goodbye.
Good night.
Gracie.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.